Good morning, viewers. Thank you for staying tuned. Today we are going to be looking at the QuickBooks Preferences. If you can see, this is our home page for Saving Life Hospital. If you go to our menu bar, click on Edit Preferences to take us to the Preferences section. And we can see by my left hand side, we have options like Accounting, Bills, Calendar, Checking, Desktop View, Finance Charge, General, Integrated Application, Items and Inventory, Jobs and Estimate, Multiple Currency, Payment, Payroll and Employee, Reminders, Reports and Graphs, Sales and Customer, Sales Tax, Search, Send Funds, Service Connection, Spelling, Tax, Time and Expenses. So we go to the first option, and that is Accounting. Now, under Accounting, my preferences, click on Accounting, Autofill Memo in General Journal Entry. Now go to Company Preferences. We unclick all the boxes, and I'll explain to you one at a time. Now the first is Use Account Number. What does it mean when click says Use Account Number? Use Account Number means use General Ledger Number. Now, if you go to our chart of account, you will see that we have the account names, savings, account receivable, undeposited fund. Then we have the types, bank, account receivable, expenses. But we notice that there is no general ledger number, which is used to identify the account name. When making a transaction, we can input the general ledger number and the account name will be generated. So we'll go to our Edit, Preferences. We're under Accounting. Now we click on Use Account Number. If I click on OK, now you see that there are some unique numbers that have been generated. These are known as the General Ledger Account Number. Now, when you see 11,000, it is for account receivable. When you see 15,000, it's for furniture and equipment under fixed assets. And when you see repair and maintenance, we also have 67,200, which is under repair and maintenance under expenses. Go to our Edit Preferences. Go to Company. Now we have Show Lowest Sub Account. If I click on Show Lowest Sub Account, now what it means is that there will be a sub account with its own unique number known as General Ledger Number. I'll give you an example because we already have furniture and expenses under repair and maintenance and recharge card under repair and maintenance. So we look for another account that we can use which identify. We have utilities. If I click on utilities, I go to Account, New, click on Expenses, Continue, and I click on account name Electricity. Electricity, sub account of utilities. Save and close. Account number cannot be left blank. So what it means is that I have to click on it and input the number. We have 68601. Click on Save and Close. So here we are. We have utilities of 68,600. Then we have electricity of 68,601. It is always important that the sub account general ledger number has a link with the account, just like utilities that has 68,600, electricity has 68,601, If you go to telephone, we have 68,100. Recharge card has 68,101. If you go to repair and maintenance, 67,200. Function expenses, 67,201. So we close this. Go to edit, preferences, company preferences. We're through with use account number. You show lowest sub account only. Now we use class tracking. Now what it means is that company generates P&L, that's profit and loss account, which help to provide details to know if the company is making profit or loss. Now, same company might have branches, and each of those branches also run their own profit and loss account. By clicking on use class tracking, it helps to monitor those transactions operated by the branches. Now, if I unclick on class tracking and I click OK, if I go to my list, I will notice that there is no class list under this particular menu. If I break down the drop down, you notice that there is no class list here. Likewise, if I go to customer, enter sales receipt, you will notice there is no class list identified in this page. So I'll go back to edit, preferences, go to company preferences. I'll click on use class tracking and I click OK. Now you can notice that there's a class identified in this page and here too. Likewise, if you go to list, you will see class list. So now what I will do is that I will actually create two classes under Savings Life Hospital. That is two departments that also generate their own revenue. So I will click on class, list, click on class, new class, health maintenance. Okay. I'll click on open another one again. Record department. Okay. So I'll close this. I will now come to sales receipt, working customer, health maintenance, medical consultant, and I'll put 250,000 and a paid through check. Save and close. I'll open another one, enter sales, working customers, record department with registration card, 350,000, and I click paid cash, save and close. So I'll go to report under the menu bar, look for company and financial, profit and loss under class. So this is the report that is operated by the two departments. Health maintenance is report generating 250,000. Record department is generating 350,000. If you add it together, you have 600,000. So we'll go to the next, edit, preferences, company preferences. Now says automatically assign general entry number. Now what it means that if I click on this, what is the purpose of general journal entry? General journal entry, it is used to correct any error when posting a transaction. So if I click on this particular box and I click on OK, now what will happen is that anytime I create a journal entry, QuickBooks will notify me by assigning a number to journal entry. means that every journal entry that I create, there will be a entry number. Now, this is entry number 2. Entry number 1 has already been used. That is why we're in entry number 2. Now, click on OK. Close this. Edit. Preferences. Company preference. Now, if I click on automatically assign general journal entry and I click on OK, immediately I click on journal, make journal entry, QuickBooks will not assign any entry numbers. So that is all about the journal entry number. Preferences. I'll go to company preferences. I'll click on that. Now, when posting transaction to retained earnings. Now, what is retained earning? Retained earnings, as we know, is an equity account that QuickBooks creates when you start a new company. It helps to track profit from early periods that have not yet been distributed to the owners. So when you click on when posting a transaction to retained earning, QuickBooks will notify you for any transaction that is being posted to retained earnings. The next box, if transactions are 90 days in the past. Now, if you click on the box, what it means that every transaction that you post that is 30, 60, 90, or 120 days in the past, QuickBooks will notify the user that if it is okay to post that particular transaction or not. I will give you an example. Close this. I'll go to my banking, write a check, working customer, 67,200 as repair maintenance. Okay, expenses. So I now backdate it. Okay, I click save and new. Now you see that QuickBooks will say transaction is more than 90 days in the past. Are you sure you want to make the changes? If I click yes, it will be posted. If I click no, it will not be posted. So I will click on no, not because the transaction is not correct. All I'm just trying to do is to show you an explanation and an example of exactly what it means by the particular preference which states that if transaction are 90 days in the past. So, okay with that, I will clear this and I'll go back to my home page. I'll go back to edit preferences, company preferences. Now, same thing, if transaction are 30 days in the future, means that any transaction that is posted 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, QuickBooks will notify the user if it is okay to post that transaction or not. Now, closing date through which books are closed. When do you want to close your book? Most companies close their book in the end of the year, that's December, while some close monthly. Now, if you want to close your book, you will set a date. When you set the date, there will be a password that you need to input. The reason of that password is that after that date has expired, any other transaction that might have occurred, any other transaction that might have occurred and is not in that particular transaction in the book, and you want to post them into that book that has been closed. When you do that, QuickBooks will notify you, and if you do need to post it, you need to input the closing date password. So that is all about accounting. We now have bills. Bills. Enter bills. Under my preferences, we have no personal preferences under bill. We have company preferences. Enter bill. Bills are due 30 days after receipt. Now, what it means is that after the vendor have given the invoices or bill to their client, that's Saving Life Hospital. The date of receiving that bill, 30 days after that date, the bill is due for payment. Now, this is a payment scheme that the company uses 30 days, while some uses 60 days. What about duplicate bill numbers from same vendor? Now, QuickBooks will notify the user when it identifies duplicate bills number. Vendors might send bills that have duplicate number, so QuickBooks will notify the user, and it's the duty of the user to notify the vendor to make that correction. Payment bills automatically use credit. You can pay your bills using credit, you can pay your bills using discount. That is all about bills. We have calendar. Under my preferences, we have calendar view. You can review, daily view, weekly view, monthly view, or remember last view. Under weekly view, you can fix 5 days, fix 7 days, or variable 5 to 7 days. You can show all the transactions, is that deposit, estimate, invoice, receipt, payment, sales orders. Upcoming and past due service setting, you can display, show, or hide them. So that's all about the calendar. If you look at my company preferences, there is no company preferences for calendar. Now checking. Now under my preferences, select default account to use. Now if you want to open and you write a check and you want to use a default account, you can pick a particular account to be writing the check. Close this. If you want to open and pay bills and you want to use a particular account, you can click on that. And you want to pay sales tax, you can click on a particular account, or make deposit, you can pick a particular account to make the deposit. We have company preferences. Under company preferences, if you want to print account names on voucher, click on it. If you want to change check date when non-clear check is printed, you click on it, or you don't click on it if you don't want to. Start with payee field on check. If you want it, you click on it. If you don't click on it. Now, one about duplicate check number, when the check has been issued to pay particular expenses or a particular supplier, and that same check number is being issued again, QuickBooks will notify the user and make the correction. Autofill payer account number in check memo. So that's all about the check-ins. Set default account to use. Open the check payment, you can use a particular account. If you go to desktop view, under my preferences, now we have one window and multiple window. Now what it means by multiple window, this means that if I close it, if I open a particular page like customer, and I open vendors, open employees, now those are the windows. Now under that particular preference, when you click on open, it means that it will entertain and it will allow multiple windows to be open. When you click on one window, it only means that only one window can be open, and you must close before another windows can be open. So that's all about the windows. I'll close this. Go back to my edit. Preferences. Save when closing company. Whenever you want to close your company, QuickBooks will notify you to save all your data. And it's advisable you save so that all your data are kept safe, so that you don't lose any of your data. You don't save the desktop, save current desktop. So this save when closing company. Show home page when open. When you open a company file, you create a company, the first page to open to show is to show home page. Show getting started with window 2. So let's look at company preferences. Select the feature that you want to show on the home page. We have the customer. Now you can see this is our home page. we have the customers. You can see this, our customer. Create invoice, which you can see there. Create sales receipt and statement and charges. Likewise for the vendors, we have enter bills and bills paid. So that's all about desktop. So finance chart. If you come into an investment and there's an annual interest rate is being inputted there, and there's a finance charge for those investments also inputted there, and the grace period in which those investments should be paid. The finance charge account, where exactly which account is being run. So this is about finance charge. Under my preferences, there is no personal preference for finance charge. We have general. General, under my preferences, is a pressing enter moves between files, bring back all one-time messages. If your account needs to make use of either of those two, you click on them. If not, you unclick. Automatically open drop-down list when typing. You click on it, which means that you can have access to all the drop-down lists when it needs to be, just like the customer. So let me close this. We have customer, enter sales receipt. If I click on drop down, so that's what it means. Go back to edit. Turn off pop-up messages for product and services. If your company actually makes use of products and services that needs messages, you can turn it on. Beep when recording the transaction. Maybe you post a transaction, it's a particular sound that is being heard, shows that transaction was successful. Automatically place decimal point. Now, if I unclick, it means that in all my transactions, every transaction there should be a decimal point. One when deleting the transaction, unused transaction. Now, what it means that QuickBooks will notify the user whenever he wants to delete a transaction. I'll give an example. I go to my company, write a check. I think we have done one already, so here just see chart of account. Yes, with 600 on deposit fund. I click on this, and now right click. Say okay, decrease sales. QuickBooks will tell you, are you sure you want to cancel, delete this transaction? If you say yes, you click okay. If you say no, you cancel, so I'll cancel. But that's the purpose of that particular preference. QuickBooks will notify you if you want to delete a transaction. Yeah, so you click on it. One when edit a transaction, same way, QuickBooks will notify you when you want to edit a transaction. Keep QuickBooks running for QuickBooks Startup. Automatically remember account or transaction information. Automatically recall last transaction for this name. Use field account for vendors based on past entries. Now, default date to use for new transaction. Use today's date as default or use last enter date as transaction. Now, what it means that if I go to my banking, write a check, you'll notice that it is today's date that is actually used as default. So any check you raise or create, it is the date, today's date that is being used on that check. But now, if I click on 1st of November, working customer, first of all, I go back to my edit, preferences, and I change this to last date. I click on OK. And I click on customer 67. Let me pay our maintenance. Expenses. And I click on save. And now go back again. Write a check. You'll notice now that it is still that 1st of November that is being used, and that's the purpose of that preferences. Use last enter date as default. So I will click on use today's date. Keep custom item from when change item, always ask, always or never. So ask. So integrated application for yes. Under integrated application, there is no personal preferences. Company preferences. You can manage all applications that interact with this QuickBooks company file. Now, don't allow any application to access this company file. Now, if you don't want any application to have access to your company file, click on it, but if you want to, you unclick. Likewise, the second box says notify the user before running any application, meaning that before running an application that the certificate has expired, the user must be notified. So QuickBooks will notify the user when such application is being used has expired. Items and inventory. Under my preferences, we have no preferences. Now under my company preferences, we have the first, but inventory and purchase orders are active. Now what it means is that if you go to my vendors, you will notice that we only have vendor center, enter bill, pay bill, item list. So if I go back to my edit, preferences, go to my company preference, if I click on inventory purchase order and I click on OK, close, yes, yes, no, yes, yes, cancel orders. So now what it means is that if I go to my edit, preferences, company preferences, I've clicked on the inventory and purchase order, so I'll click OK. If I go to my vendors, you'll now see that it has under the drop down vendors center, enter bills, pay bills, create purchase order, receive item and enter bill, receive item, enter bills for receive inventory. So that's the purpose of that preferences. Then we have under company preference, under item and inventory, one about duplicated purchase order. When you order for a particular product, the vendor requests for a purchase order which is created by their client, that's Saving Life Hospital. Now QuickBooks will notify the user when the purchase order has duplicate number. Also, it's one if not enough inventory to sell when the quantity I want to sell exceeds quantity on hand or quantity unavailable. So as the purpose of item and inventory, job and estimate. Under my preferences, we have none. Under my preferences, company preferences. Now enter the job started description you prefer for your business. For example, you can enter submit for pending. So this is more about the description you prefer your business to operate. You prefer pending, awarding, in progress, close. So that's all about job and estimate. Multiple currency. If you go to my preferences, there is none under my preferences. Company and preferences. Track multiple currency in this company file. If you have only, no, I only have one currency. Click on that. I have more than one. Click on that. Payment. Under my preferences, we have none. Company preferences. Receive payment, automatically apply payment, automatically calculate payment. Use undeposited funds as a default deposit. Every revenue that comes in from the company must be placed under undeposited fund before it's being posted or deposited into the account run by the bank. So that's all about payment, payroll, and employee. Now, under my preferences, we have non-company preferences, full payment payroll, or you want to use no payroll, complete payroll customer. So this is much about the payroll. So you should take your time and go through them, able to understand each of the functions. Reminders. Under my preferences, non-company preferences. Check to print. This is summary, shows the summary of the total number of check to print, and usually remind the user 5 days before check date. So these are all the summary. Payment to print, you can check 5 days before paycheck. Sales receipt to print, inventory to order, assembly item to bill. So this summary will provide you the details of all the summary, reports and graph. Now, under my preferences, prompt me to modify reports before opening a report. So you notify the user. When report or graph needs to be refreshed, prompt me to refresh. If you need to refresh, you notify the user. Graph. Now, the graph being used, you can use a 2D or you can use any other pattern. Company preferences. We have the report base, we have the accrue base, we have the cash base. Now, when we mean the accrue base will identify income will be captured whether payment is being made or not, or expenses will be captured when expenses event has occurred and payment has been made or hasn't been made. So that's the purpose of accrue. We have the cash base too. Now we have the report shows account by name, description, or name and description. I pick name and description. Aging report, age from due date, age from transaction date. Now we have sales and customer. Under my preferences, we have prompt for time cost to add. Don't add any, ask what to do. Add available time and cost invoice for selected job. So we have company and preferences. Using shipping method, they share others. One about duplicate invoice number 2. Sales tax. Preferences, we have non-company preferences. Do you charge sales tax? Yes. Click on yes, no. Click on search. Under my preferences, we have search field preferences. Show search field icon. This is search field icon. Choose where to search by default. You can search by my company, search by QuickBooks Help, or let me choose where I search each time. So you can click let me choose. Company preferences. QuickBooks updates search information frequency, so changes to the company file can appear in search results. Select how often to update search information. So we use 30 days. Come up and use more than 60 minutes. I use 30 minutes. Okay, we have this send funds. You may change yourself. Okay, that's to change to 60 days. Send funds. So if you want to send your invoices under company preferences, we can use your invoices are charged. Please remit payment at the earliest convenience. Company preferences, you can use your email to send any of your reports to your client. So you identify the email here. Service connection. Under my preference, give me the option saving a file whenever I download web connect data. If QuickBooks is run by browser, don't close it after web connect is done. Now, how do you want to handle your connection to QuickBooks? Automatically connect without using password, which I did not click on because it's always advisable to have a password so that non-authorized user can have access to your report. Spelling. There are no correct preferences for spelling, but under preferences, always check spelling before printing. QuickBooks will help you to check. Ignore words with the internet number capitalized, first number uppercase, miscase. Tax. There's no under tax. Company preferences. Verify 109 yes or no. Time and expenses. Under preferences, you have none. Company preferences. Do you track time? Yes. Create invoice from the first time or expenses. Create the reimbursement expenses income, default makeup, default markup. So this is all about preferences, and we have gone through the options. So you need to take time to understand the options, so you'll be able to know how you can use them while preparing your account. So I thank you all for giving me your time and your audience, and I hope to see you in the next chapter where we'll be discussing much more about QuickBooks Premier Edition. Thank you very much.